Is there a relationship between French language and music? The sound of the language?
I don't know, but I can say with myself, I have no voice at all when I speak. So maybe I am typically French. I don't know. But the pronunciation is very... My daughter takes care of a lot of singers at the Curtis. Told me that it's very difficult to sing in French for some of them. Because we have everything near the mouth, or in the nose, more or less. The sounds come. And it is different from the Italian or from the Russian, who are easiest one to sing with. The language is difficult.
Quite often I know that you're asked to serve as a juror for competitions.
Yes, I
judging
have been
competitions.
in Brussels, I have been in Montreal.
Yes, and here.
Here too, naturally, yes.
When you're listening to the performers, what qualities are you looking for? Special qualities?
Special quality is the musicality. If you are a good musician, I think you can always go better. If you are a bad musician, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. You can have a technique. That's something that a lot of people without very good musicianship can do by practicing a lot, as if they have a good hand. But also, I think that many people have a problem with their hand and their arm because they practice sometimes in the wrong way, not with the kind of easy way that you have to approach the piano with a simple wrist. The wrist is one of the most important places, I think, in our body to play the piano. Also, we use shoulder too, but not so much. It's not only fingers.
But if the wrist is bad, then it's trouble.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
You get stiff, and you cannot make any progress.
How do you yourself practice?
You have a kind of a routine. Each one has more or less a routine. My husband had a different routine of myself because his hand was bigger than mine. But anyway, I had a good hand. I was reaching the 10th. But here I always try to do the dominant chords that you see, for example, Chopin asked for it. And Phillips used it in all his exercise. And and also Brahms did a lot of this stitching, you say?
Stretching,
yes. Stretching, for me, is important. I have to do 5 minutes of stretching before I start. But maybe some others don't need it. But I like to do some double thirds. I think if you don't do thirds very easily with a good fingering, you cannot go to a very big technique too, beside the fact of moving the fingers like Czerny asked for. But Czerny was the first one to use the chromatic scales in thirds, and people said maybe it was before Chopin, maybe before Chopin. But the Chopin etudes are still the very difficult one. I don't think it's so good to practice on Chopin. I think you have to be more ready to do it if you have already your technique on something else. Because it's a shame to practice a beautiful thing like a Chopin without disturbing the light all the time, to do something, an exercise on it.
You have a routine for 1 hour, half hour?
Not 1 hour, I would take. It takes not so much time, I would say 20 minutes. More to do your scales, your arpeggio, your stretching, and some octaves and some thirds. It takes a little, not very much time when you know it, the way to do it.
And do you recommend that to your students also?
Yes, when they need it, I'd like to tell them, you need that, you need to do thirds, you maybe need some octaves, maybe you need more only scales or arpeggio. Because arpeggio is always something to bother everyone, because some people jump when they have to go under what I call a bridge, the thumb under the bridge. They jump, they do like that, which I think is, sometimes you can do it, but not very often. You have to know first the way to put your thumb under. But people said it is only on the time of the clavecinists that they start to use the thumb, so they were playing without any.
Yes.
I heard that Rameau was the one who his tone, the way to play.
I think that's true, yes. Yeah.
So you can be very... And look at Mozart, his father was asking him to practice on a clavichord because it is a kind of piano with, if you press a little bit more and less, you have a different tone. And that is such a good quality of tone. It's very interesting if you look at some old clavichord, to see why the father was so, when he was willing to have his son practice in a beautiful way, told him, please work on this instrument.
Beautiful, yeah.
Because if you press more or less, you have a different tone.
Yeah.
We don't have this so much on the piano. But
do you have a preference in piano that you use?
It's difficult to say because some piano are better for something and some other for... for example, look at Debussy was so fond of Bechstein. And now I don't know if we can get such good Bechstein. I did not see so many of them. And some people ask for the Steinway from Germany instead of Steinway from America. And myself at home I have Steinway from America that we used to have. And I have a Pleyel because my husband, when he got his first prize, got a piano from the Pleyel house piano. And it is, when you play Mozart on it, I think it is maybe easier than on the Steinway. And you look at Ravel was always very fond of Erard, which is no more now so much on the market. But it's a very clear sound. It's very, very clear, very brilliant in one way. A lot of things that you can do, for example, the glissando on the Alborada of Ravel can be done easily on the Erard and not so much on the Steinway. Just glissando.
Because of the easy.
The key are lighter, so you can do that easier than on the Steinway where you have to press more.
Yes. When you hear young pianists today, how do you compare with the last generation, 2 generations? Do you think there are some
I think
more
in
shortcomings?
general they have more technique than maybe they used to have before for certain pieces.
As much music? Do they have as much music and style?
Yes. I think now, for example, my husband was almost the first one to play all Ravel music. And I remember he said to me when I talked with Ravel and said about some mistakes in Gaspard de la Nuit, he said, I cannot correct them because it is not yet 2,000 copies sold. And that was at the end of 1925, maybe. You see? And now, I'm sure you find in every keyboard of a good pianist a music of
Gaspard de la Nuit.
I must tell you that we cut Gaspard de la Nuit this time with Grant from our program because we had too many people playing Gaspard de la Nuit.
In Paris?
No, here. For the competition. Everyone wants to play Gaspard very well. Maybe it is true, it is difficult because Ondine is so different from Scarbo. And also, the story that my husband made the recording on what you call roller?
Piano roll.
Piano roller, yes. With Ravel, because when he heard my husband playing JB in a right tempo that he asked for, he said, come with me in London, because I cannot take Ricardo Vignes, because Ricardo wants to play faster. He said, it's impossible to play so slowly. So my husband knew exactly the tempo.
He was a friend of Ravel. You were a friend of Ravel.
Oh yes, he made Ravel playing once in a concert, and Ravel after that asked him to come to London to do concerts with him in some private home and to make recording, and after they traveled in Spain. But myself, I played to Ravel 2 pieces. I'm so proud of them.
Which pieces were?
Jeux and Alborada. I was invited by Madame Long. Madame Long asked Ravel to come for lunch because she was willing me to finish her. She has a kind of recital or pupil, and I was already in a class of GMA, and I was one of the best, and she said, you must finish with one Ravel piece. And I did it, and she asked Ravel to listen. She was very clever, because it was very important for me to meet Ravel.
Did he comment at all? Did he make
Oh,
a
yes, he told a few things important.
Yes.
No, I don't think I need...
But you didn't know Debussy.
I told you he was in a jury, but I never met him.
You know that. But with Ravel, how did he feel about people forming his works? Did he have an exact idea of how the performer must do it? Or did he give a little freedom?
Oh, I think he was giving some freedom, but what was important is to explain sometimes some rhythm who are not exactly what is on music, for example, in Alborada.
Mm-hmm.
It's a part where he said I was unable to put on the music exactly the rhythm that I want.
Oh.
So things like that are very important. And also the fact of the repetition. For example, for the glissando that I was speaking of, he himself was not such a good pianist. He used to play well the piano, but I suppose he did not practice for a long time because he was doing his composition.
Yes.
But he used to do the glissando so easily. And he said, I don't mind if you can't do it only with not thirds, but just natural one. He didn't bother that. What was important is to have the effect to play the piano more or less like a guitar, which is especially the atmosphere of Alborada. He's a singer with a guitarist accompaniment.
Gypsy.
Gypsy, yes. You said gypsy, not guitar? No?
Gypsy singer?
No, I mean guitar, guitar, the instruments.
Yes.
You call it guitar.
Yeah, yes.
But very often they sing.
Now,
about Ravel, he had, I will say, he was very, very impressed by the fact of Spain. That's true. He was very fond of...
Fascinated.
Habanera is the first piece that he wrote, more or less, with the style of the Habanera. And I think at this time, my husband used to say that the Spanish music has been written by the French. In one way it is true, but because it was Bizet who started, and after Chabrier wrote Spain, and also Debussy, Ravel, you know. And it is not only at this time that came, I will say, Granados and Albéniz, almost at the same time, at the beginning of the century.
Yes.
And Faya was really the one who used the dialect of the country. At first he was doing things more in a classical way. Now we had I was very pleased because I have been associated with the Académie Ravel in Saint-Jean-de-Luz for 10 years almost. Now I don't go anymore because I can't do everything.
Yes.
I try to rest a little bit. And
you taught?
Yes,
teaching.
We had an academy at first with singers, especially, and pianists. Now also it's more or less a singer and pianist. And it's very interesting because we are just near the place where Ravel was born, which is Cibourg, just opposite to Saint-Jean-de-Luz. And I was practicing in the same place where he was born, so it was just marvelous. The spirit of him was in the air. And he used to come every summer, you know, he was so fond of this Basque country near Biarritz. He was always coming. I knew exactly where he was living in different places thereafter his birth. He did not come back to Cibourg, which is a very tiny little town opposite to Saint-Jean-de-Luz, but he was born there. And his mother was born there, I mean from this part of France, and she spent a lot of her youth in Madrid, because she was helping someone, I don't know, in couture, I mean some... And so she was, I'm sure, singing a lot of Spanish songs to the son. So he had, and also he has a mixture of his father who was in the border of Switzerland, French, but from some people used to say he knew the way to a clock or this kind of special...
clockwork, yes.
Yes, clockwork, which is so minutious, very difficult to do, because he had this kind of way to compose in music, you know, to be so careful.
Precision,
precision, yes. So I think he inherited that from his father.
Really?
Maybe not from his father, but his grandfather, because as the father was more or less engineer, he was in a railroad.
Mm-hmm. Even the notation of Ravel is very precise.
Yes. So that's, I was thinking it would be interesting for you to know our relationship with Ravel, especially also because my husband made, after all, a lot of concerts with Ravel. Ravel was playing with him at first, for example, a program, all Ravel, but at the beginning with Ma Mère Loi for four hands, and after he was accompanying a singer, some melody of himself. After my husband was playing, for example, or Gaspard or Miroir, some difficult piece for piano, and they were finishing very often with a trio for Maurice Maréchal and Michel Uncle, who was the violinist of my husband.
Who was the violinist?
The violinist was the uncle of my husband, Marius Casadesus.
Marius Casadesus.
They were making a trio. They made a lot of concerts together, but they were very pleased to do that. And also we saw in London the burst, I will say, of Ravel when he was writing, what is the piece for violin? Zigane. Because the girl by the name of Darani, which was a very young but outstanding violinist, was playing there when my husband was playing too, and Ravel. I mean, it was a concert in a very lovely home. And after the party, we went for hours, we stayed, because Ravel was willing this girl to improvise a gypsy sound. And after that, we rushed back to Paris, and he went back to his place in the countryside in Saint-Rémy. And there he wrote this piece, which is dedicated to Darani, but she dies, unfortunately, very young.
Oh.
But she was very outstanding.
And he loved jazz also, didn't he?
Oh yes, that was when I think it was, especially when he came to America in 1928. Because I think he met Gershwin, you know the story, that he said to Gershwin, you do very good Gershwin, you don't have to do bad Ravel. So I'm sure he used to say, you can copy if you are with a good personality, it does not matter. But if you have no personality, naturally you're only the copyist. They get inspiration also for the bolero. I think he went more or less inside of Morocco, and he heard a lot of, I'm sure, songs. He took, and when he wrote the concerti for two pianos, for the one for left hand and the one for two hands, he asked the Durand edition to send him Mozart concerti and Saint-Saëns. Funny, because you don't realize when you hear the concerti of Ravel that he was willing to take the source, the way. He said Ravel, Mozart has done the most beautiful concerti, and also he was thinking that Saint-Saëns built the new way to write on the piano also. It's so strange, you know.
Yeah. No, I never would have, no.
Oh, you never think of that.
No.
But he was very fond of it.
Did he know your husband's compositions?
Oh yes, because my husband dedicated some of the preludes who are going to be on the next time in August.
In the competition.
The competition.
Yes.
It's two preludes which were, and the 24 preludes have been dedicated to Ravel. And my husband received a very nice word from me.
Are you concertizing often now, or?
Not so much, but I do still do specialists, usually chamber music or things like that. I played especially when I can play something of my husband. I'm recording also of his piano pieces, a lot of them. And I have done that lately, his quartet with Trio Pasquier and some other things, you see. I don't want to play only my husband's music, but I like also the people to know about, because he's a bit shy. He was a man who never say, I want to play my own music. He was always waiting until the people will ask for it.
Yes.
Not like Rachmaninoff, who at the end of his life played only his own music. Yes, he was playing only Rachmaninoff, more or less. But that was a good idea. I think my husband was wrong.
As you, at this point in your life, are you particularly drawn to any particular part of the repertoire, any special music for you?
I don't play so much of the very, very modern contemporary music because I said I'm too old. I go to Bartok,
Not so.
but I don't play, for example, Boulez, and I know he is maybe very good, but I don't understand very well his music, and maybe I'm not gifted to do it, I don't know. This is something very special, these days, to do this kind of things. I have some pupils who do Webern, because I don't want them to be out of it.
Yes.
And some are very enthusiastic doing that, so I don't see why I'm not.
But for you, any special to composers?
So many things that you like to do. If you naturally, my husband will have said, if I have to to take only one music with me in a poor island, I will take only Mozart. But myself, I cannot say that. I don't know, maybe Chopin, maybe Schumann, maybe, I don't know. It's a lot of music that you can take with you.
Yes.
And Debussy, I love that.
Yes.
Difficult already to separate, to say that I like Ravel better than Debussy or Debussy better than Ravel. C'est important.